start the countdown.
Welcome to another episode of Really Robots. I'm your host, Tommy J. Houseman, and I am here with all of my AI friends. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about individual robots. For the next couple episodes, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull out some robot manufacturers and the robot models that are being pushed out into the market soon or almost soon. So, with We Robot event by Tesla coming out like just a couple days ago, I don't really have any choice but to talk about Elon Musk. So Elon Musk as a person, I'm not really fond of him. It's kind of this weird hate and like thing that I have going on. A lot of the things that he is creating, the world's going to need or the world might not need, I don't know. But there's a lot of things that he's doing that might change the world for good if handled correctly, but he seems to be a real evil ass. I don't trust him. I don't trust what he says, but all the things that he's doing with his company seems to be going in the right direction that the world needs to go. But I think that if he had it his way, he would use it all for evil and would not, and the things that would need to be accomplished for us as citizens would not get accomplished if he had anything to say about it. So a couple things happened at the We Robot event. The first was the Cybercab, the fully autonomous vehicle that would sell for, about the normal price of a car, between $20,000 and $30,000. That would change the way that we use transportation, at least in the United States. We're heavily dependent on cars. So this would definitely change things. A fully autonomous vehicle without a steering wheel or a pedals or anything. You just get in the car and takes you where you need to go. And then it can drive off and go pay for itself by giving other people rides like an Uber. And then when it's time for you to go home, it can come back and pick you up. No need for parking anymore. You can just either send it off to go work and earn some money, or you can send it back home. I think that is actually a great idea. And that would, save the world from all kinds of transportation issues that we now pose, but that's not really what this show is about. So we're going to move on, but it is a robot, but it's not a humanoid robot. And then he also had the Robovan, but which he called the Robovan. The Robovan, the Robovan, the Robovan. That's what he called it. He called it the Robovan, but it's the Robovan. So anyway, it's just a bigger version of the cyber taxi, right? It's just this big box. It looked pretty cool. He made a lot of promises about when and when it won't come out. And he was met with lots of skeptics. If you read all the articles that are out there right now, there's lots of people that think he's pretty much, full of BS, right? But if you really know what's going on with AI and you know what's going on with robotics and you know what's going on with autonomy and autonomous vehicles, he might not be wrong. And I'll go into that just a little bit before we start talking about his robot. So as we've talked in our past few episodes, you'll note that the prediction is for this to be a $24 to $200 trillion industry. And they're predicting that it's going to be that very quickly, like within 10 years. So if that's going to happen within 10 years' time, very specific things have to happen. Very specific amount of robots have to hit the market. Now, Elon Musk and other people have said that the robots are where the real money is going to be made because it's a lot cheaper to make those than it is to produce the cars, even though the cars have become much cheaper to make as well. So if the cars have become much cheaper to make, imagine how much cheaper it is for them to construct the robots. Now, this isn't true for all robots. There are some robots out there that are highly expensive to make, and I think Elon Musk's robot, the Tesla robot, is a little bit on the higher end, especially when you compare it to the X1. But we'll talk about X1 next episode. So there's all these things that really have to fall into place in order to reach that prediction. And when numerous people are predicting that it's going to be a $1 trillion industry. We have to assume that all of these things are going to fall in place. Of course, all kinds of things could happen. Somebody could pass laws. There could be a major setback because of cybersecurity. There could be some sort of breach in security. There could be all kinds of things that could happen that could set this like speeding truck that is coming at us 90 miles per hour to a halt and set it back a little bit. But as of right now, they are on track. And if Elon Musk said that, these robotaxis and cyber taxi and the Robovan and Optimus will be out soon. So we have to take that into consideration, not because Elon Musk said it, but because that's what the market is saying is going to happen. So let's talk a little bit more about the Gen 2 Optimus by Tesla. So the Gen 2 model is 10 kilograms lighter than the previous version and moves about 30% faster. It has an improved, more agile build that comes with improved balance and full body control, allowing for greater mobility. So at the We Robot event, they'd had lots of these robots moving around and walking around. There was one tending bar, but of course it was speculated that it was being remotely controlled, handled. And I got to tell you, it did look a little awkward, especially when you compare it to a lot of the other robots that are out there. But I have seen videos behind the scenes of this robot working very well. But, that's either here or there with Tesla, because you can't really trust what Elon Musk is doing. But that's not to say that you can't trust his employees and the businesses that he owns. We can't assume that since he's dishonest that everybody that works for him is. But we do have to take into consideration that, he doesn't always tell the truth. Tesla bot Gen 2's hands have been upgraded with 11 degrees of freedom, enabling it to handle delicate tasks. And I've seen this in action. This really does work. They are able to articulate very well. Tesla has equipped the Gen 2 Optimus with advanced sensors and actuators, which provide precise control and tactile sensing capabilities. So, it can grab things like eggs and not crush them. It is primarily designed for industrial settings where precision and safety are paramount. And I think that is, Tesla's and Elon Musk's goal is to put this more in industry and manufacturing settings. I think that's where he wants to go first. I think that's where he thinks the most money is. That's definitely where the industry gap is. The industry gap is in food service and in manufacturing and in agriculture, and in those places in our economy. That's where the gaps are. That's where workers are needed, and he's most likely to make money more easily without having to worry about, it hurting somebody's dog or it hurting somebody's kid or hurting somebody in a house or damaging something in a house. There could be certain, measures put in place in contracts where he could use these robots in industry settings more easily and make a whole bunch of money in the meantime while these machines learn and get better. The Gen 3 version is expected to have completely new design with lighter materials and faster movements, and that's true, it does. Potential new features include speakers and a voice system for communication, and they did display that at We Robot, but it sounded like somebody was speaking. It didn't really sound like AI. So we'll just put that out there. But he's saying that these are going to be available by 2025 with wider availability in 2026. And compared to other manufacturers of robots that we're going to talk about later, that's not as exciting as some other promises. So he says it's going to cost around $20,000, about the price of a used car, small car. So we'll see what happens. But it is a high quality machine. It is a good robot. It does look like it's going to be capable of doing all these things. It's going to learn on the fly. It's going to be able to learn from its environment and learn from its mistakes and continue to evolve. And it's going to happen fast. It's going to happen really fast. It has absolutely nothing to do with Elon Musk. It has to do with the technology that's available. This technology is developing rapidly, exponentially, more than rapidly. So we have to watch what is going to happen with the industry and not pay much attention to whatever Elon Musk says, even if he's right, even if he's wrong, even if he's over exaggerating. it's better to just take what he says and go, and then look at the industry as a whole and then measure that. Because the robot technically looks really good when you compare it to all the other robots. So we're going to go ahead and let our AI host talk a little bit about this, and I will take it from there. All right. And don't forget, we'll come back next episode. We're going to talk about the X1. But for now, I give it to my AI guest. Thank you.
Picture this. You're at, like, some fancy Hollywood party, right? Sipping a watermelon cocktail. And who comes up to take your next order? A robot. But not just any robot. A robot bartender with a Texas drawl.
Only Elon Musk, right?
Exactly. That's how he decided to unveil his latest creation, the Optimus robot.
Yeah, it was quite the entrance.
So is this like the beginning of the robot revolution, or what? Are we getting lost in science fiction?
Well, that's what we're going to find out.
We're diving into all the latest news and expert opinions on Tesla's Optimus to bring you, the listener, all the need-to-know details. So fill up your glass and let's untangle this whole thing.
What I find captivating about this whole Optimus thing is that Musk isn't just trying to build another gadget, He's talking about Optimus being bigger than any product Tesla's ever released.
Bigger than self-driving cars, even.
He says so. A robot capable of completely transforming our everyday lives.
He's not holding back on the promises either. Imagine a robot that costs less than a car, somewhere between $20,000 to $30,000 that can mow your lawn, babysit your kids, maybe even be your friend. Musk threw out a target release date of late 2025, which of course has everyone buzzing. But should we be clearing out space in the garage already? I don't know.
That's where things get really interesting. Experts like Devnag, you know him, he heads up QueryPal.
Yeah, I've heard of it.
Right, and Agnieszka Palat, she's a robotics artist actually, worked with the folks over at Boston Dynamics, the robot dog people.
Oh yeah, the ones that are crazy agile.
Exactly. So they both pointed out some major hurdles Optimus needs to overcome. Like, let's start with the basics. Walking. Sounds simple enough, right?
You and me, we do it every day.
Exactly. But navigating the minefield of toys, stairs, and just unexpected obstacles in a typical home, that is a massive challenge for robots.
Yeah, it really makes you appreciate how easily we humans move around, even with the occasional stub toe, am I right?
Precisely. And speaking of energy, how long can Optimus run on a single charge? You wouldn't want your robot butler taking a nap in the middle of cooking dinner, would you?
Or letting the dog out. I mean, come on.
And then there's the whole other world of safety and regulations.
Yeah.
How do you make sure a robot can interact safely with kids and pets? And what about data privacy?
Right. Is Optimus going to be listening to all of our conversations?
It's a possibility. And who's on the hook if your robot decides to use your expensive vase as a basketball?
Ooh, that's an expensive mistake.
Right. So maybe those late 2025 delivery estimates are a bit,
Optimistic.
Yeah, just a tad. But we can't ignore the fact that this recent Tesla event, it wasn't just smoke and mirrors this time. Remember the 2021 Tesla bot reveal?
Oh, you mean the guy in the robot suit?
Yes, literally a guy in a robot suit. But this time, we saw actual Optimus robots moving around, serving drinks. They even played rock, paper, scissors.
No way.
It was pretty wild. Yeah, it was definitely a much more impressive demonstration this time around.
So more than just a robotic magic show.
Way more. One of the analysts there, Dan Ives from Wedbush, he actually got to spend like an hour interacting with an Optimus unit.
Wow, a whole hour.
Yeah, he called it, get this, a jaw-dropping historical event. Even suggested we might see these robots in homes as early as 2027.
Okay, 2027, that's what, less than 3 years away? That seems
ambitious.
Just a bit, but I mean, not totally impossible, I guess. So real progress is being made. But it's easy to get caught up in all the wow factor of these demos, What really has the experts intrigued? What's actually different since the prototypes from last year?
Well, one of the biggest advancements they've made is in mobility. Remember how those 2022 prototypes were like stuck on these bulky stands?
Right, they look kind of useless.
Yeah, well, this time Optimus was walking freely.
No wires, no tethers, nothing.
Nothing, and that's a huge step, believe me.
Okay, so big win there. But what about those other challenges we talked about, like the battery life, navigating those messy homes we all have, making sure they're safe to have around?
Right, those challenges. Yeah, those haven't exactly disappeared overnight.
Yeah, figures. But okay, let's say, just for a second, Optimus actually overcomes those hurdles. What does that future even look like?
Well, Musk has hinted at some pretty transformative applications, let me tell you. Imagine, just picture this, cityscapes without those massive parking lots.
Okay, I'm picturing it. Then what?
And they're all replaced by, like, green spaces and parks.
Sounds lovely, but how do we get there?
Well, that's part of his whole vision, you see. Enabled by fleets of self-driving cybercabs for, your individual commutes.
Okay, so like robotaxis.
Exactly. And then, get this, larger Robo Vans for group transport.
Robo Vans. Now that sounds like something straight out of a futuristic video game. How many people can these things even carry?
Up to 20.
20 people. That's like a whole party bus waiting to happen.
Right.
But okay, serious question. If we're talking about widespread robotaxis and these like robo vans everywhere, that totally changes, well, everything. How we think about cities, traffic, even like pollution.
Exactly. But, and this is a big but, this level of, technological disruption, it comes with a whole bunch of ethical and societal questions that we, as a society, we've got to deal with. For example, what happens to the millions of people who have jobs, and transportation and all the other stuff that goes along with it if robots are the ones driving everything?
It's like we're standing on the edge of this like societal earthquake and we're still trying to figure out how to build buildings to withstand it,
That's true.
And it's not even just about jobs, right? What about accessibility? Are these technologies going to be available for everyone, or is it going to be like this wedge, making the gap between the haves and the have-nots even bigger?
That's a huge question. And it goes even deeper than that, right? Like, what about how we relate to technology? Are we even ready for a world where robots aren't just our tools, but they're our companions, our caretakers, even our friends?
Yeah, it's a lot of
How are those relationships going to end up shaping us, our humanity?
It really is both exciting and kind of unnerving to think about. I mean, on the one hand, who wouldn't want a robot to like take care of all those chores, all those things on the to-do list you never get to?
Right.
But then there's this other question I keep coming back to. What if a robot is like doing everything for us? Then what are we doing? What's even our purpose anymore?
That's the heart of it, isn't it? It's not even really about the robots or the tech itself. It's about how we choose to use it, how we let it into our lives.
Yeah.
And what kind of future we actually want, to build with it.
So what are people saying? I mean, are robots going to be like flying cars, always just like 5 years away?
Well, some folks, like Sean Dubervac, he's over at Avrio Institute. He actually thinks these household robots will be as common as washing machines one day.
Wow. Right.
Yeah. But he's also the first to say there's some huge hurdles we got to clear first. And, I'm not just talking about the price tag.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's one thing for a robot to do its thing in a lab, but in like the real world, it's a whole other thing.
It's like, think about it. Your washing machine, right, has one job, wash clothes. Optimus would have to be that reliable, but for like everything you do around the house.
Right.
In all kinds of crazy situations. And it has to be safe to have around people too.
Yeah, that's a lot to ask, even with like the smartest AI. And don't even get me started on the regulations. I mean, what happens if your robot spills hot coffee on someone?
Oof, yeah.
Or like even worse, causes some kind of accident. Who's liable for that?
Yeah. And then there's data security too. I mean, these robots, they're going to be in our homes, seeing what we do, hearing what we say.
Yeah, it's a lot to think about.
It really is. But here's the thing. Even if Optimus is still a few years away, even if it never actually launches, the conversations we're having now, super important. Because this isn't just about robots, right? It's about our whole relationship with technology, how we prepare for the future of work, our jobs, our careers, and really ultimately is about what kind of world we want for ourselves, what kind of world we want to leave our kids.
It really is like we're standing at the edge of this whole new world, full of possibilities and, a few uncertainties too.
Definitely.
So what do you think? Are you ready to welcome Optimus into your home? Or does the whole robot revolution have you holding onto your to-do list a little bit tighter?
It's a big decision.
It is.
Right.
Let us know what you think. Until next time, keep exploring, keep asking questions. And remember, sometimes the most interesting deep dives are the ones that leave us with more questions than answers.